Hello, friends, and greetings for the day. Welcome back to another live session of our channel where we welcome you to ask your questions and get them clarified as a part of our discussion. So, today again, we are connecting as a part of our weekend and certainly would love to answer your questions once again. So, make sure that you be a part of this live session. Where this live session is basically to answer all your questions and help you understand the concepts of testing and get that satisfactory responses to your queries and concerns whatsoever you may have about certifications on ISTQB or testing concepts, your journey, your career path in being a QA, and any sort of question which is related to testing is certainly, this platform is for all of you to get them clarified, and feel free to ask that questions to me and I would be more than happy to respond to you being a part of this live session. So welcome all, welcome aboard. We are looking forward to have more and more questions today as well. And feel free to let me know your question by dropping your questions in the chat box. And I'll be here picking them up, talking about it, and responding to your questions. So welcome aboard, everyone. And again, as a Saturday, every weekend on Saturday, we connect between 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. for an hour to help you respond to your queries because there are no much enough platforms who certainly come up to help you and understand your queries and give you the answers to your questions whatsoever you may have. So I certainly take these opportunities to answer the questions what people may have at any point of time and help them understand the concepts to get them the clarity and questions answers. So feel free and just drop whatever questions you may have, and I'm more than happy here available to respond to your queries. And again, to ask a question, you don't have to be really a subscriber of this channel. Anyone who has a question can feel free and come back and ask me a question here. All right, so very first question coming from Hafiz. Hafiz says, please tell me some tips and tricks about decision table. I have exam on Monday. Yes, sure, Hafiz. So the very first thing what you have about decision table is remember that truth table you learned long back, right? Long back in the sense like during school days you learned about this concept, and the very first thing what you had was truth table, the Boolean algebra, right? And the part of the Boolean algebra told you that number of conditions raised to number of inputs what you have like true or false raised to number of combination conditions. So if you have two conditions in a given scenario like C1 and C2, you will have 2 raised to 2 because there are two possibilities, true and false. Similarly, if you have three condition, it will be 2 raised to 3. So 2 is number of inputs, that is true and false, and 3 is number of conditions what you have in the scenario. So 2 raised to 2 means 4, 2 raised to 3 means 8. So you will have these number of combinations when you prepare the table. So now your table is already ready. So once you know that what exactly the number of conditions or combinations which will be required to test will be giving you the understanding of the scenario. Now after that, you always know that if you have 2 raised to 2, there are 4 combinations, then you have to check true, 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 false, false, true, and false, false. If you have tested these 4 combinations, your scenario is done. So generally they ask you about the combination, like we have picked 2 test cases, what are the other remaining 2 test cases, or they will ask you that which one of them is unrealistic. So you need to judge whether this is something which is possible to be happening in the real world or not. If it is going to happen in real world, you will consider it. If it is not going to happen in real world, you'll just ignore it. Because sometimes based on the combination of truth table, you do not get that combination which can be realistic as well. Okay, or you do get some combinations which are unrealistic. All right, so you will be asked about those things. So being sure about the decision table will help you to answer the question. Okay, I hope that gives you the input on that. Should you have anything else, feel free to drop it below. Zaid is back again here. Hello, sir. I'm almost half away through the Agile Tester videos. Now, how to practice for it because it only has one sample paper on the site. So, yeah, Zaid, I think very unfortunate to say that you only have one sample paper because people cannot manipulate or create dumps for the advanced level certifications or other certification than foundation. So you don't find because ISTQB does not release. So that's the truth that ISTQB releases only one paper. There are fake people outside who create fake papers to just grab your attention. But it's not appropriate, so you don't find any other paper than that. So I would say one thing to my team members and watchers that uh, the knowledge, what you have gained from the content, is more important than the sample paper. Sample papers will just give you an idea because ISTQB does not have dumps, right? So dumps means that I'll give you 500 question and everything will come within this. That is what you call it as dumps. And sample paper means that getting to understand that what type of questions will be coming in the examination. That's the reason ISTQB does not have dumps. They have sample papers. And they have only one paper for each examination to give you an idea that what type of my question pattern will be and how to answer that. That's it. So you won't find much. But yeah, as I told you, I'm working on preparing some great sample papers. Again, I cannot assure you the date and time. I'm really having a busy and hectic schedule. So it's not feasible enough to launch it right away. So I will take some time, but yes, there will be more papers which you can certainly find as a part of your preparatory material, probably a little time later, not right now. But yeah, you don't have any other papers. Okay, Hafiz also says, thanks for the brief information. I have seen from previous papers. Okay, first of all, Hafiz, there are no previous papers. ISTQB does not release any paper in the market. Okay, and I have seen many questions giving table papers and they ask how many test cases we need. I'm always confused about it. See, number of combinations based on the condition is your test cases. So if you have two conditions, then you have four combination like true, 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 false, false, true, and false, false. So there are four test cases. If you have three conditions, there will be 8 combinations. Okay, 2 raised to 3, 8 combinations. So there are 8 test cases. So number of combinations what you get based on the conditions is your answer. So no need to get confused in that. Okay, keep it straightforward and simple. That number of combinations are your number of test cases. And in that only you get valid as well as invalid. Okay, Mani says, hi Neeraj, why did ISTQB leave out test planning and monitoring and controlling out for test analyst? Is this not necessary in real world? Okay, it is necessary, but when they realize that it is more elaborated in the test manager, because it's not a job of the test analyst. Test analyst, they support the test manager in doing the monitoring as well as controlling, and mainly the planning, which is again the responsibility of the test manager. So they were already asking you a lot of questions on planning, monitoring, and control in test manager. And even earlier, if you look at the previous syllabus, as you are able to compare now, the previous syllabus had topics, but they mentioned there test analyst supports test manager or coordinates with the test manager in planning and monitoring and control. So they just removed it, saying that I don't want you to prepare on supporting or contributing, right? But it is none of your task. So they just removed this topic from the at analyst level. So, but as you move after analyst, your next certification in manager, there they will drill you down for sure. Because manager is having already a detailed topic on these things, and test analyst is not someone who does this job. Okay, so that's the reason they removed it. It is important, but not for test analyst, for the test manager. Okay, so yes, team, feel free to drop any questions whatsoever you may have. And if you think you're really happy with the service which I'm providing, do not forget to drop a thumbs up. And I should be really happy to see that. Yeah, Hafiz says the exam papers are available on ISTQB website, which is for the 2018. I have seen one question which has table given, and they asked how many more tests are needed. Sorry to ask again. No problem. Of course, you have to give me a clarity if you don't get the right answer. So I remember that question. You have R1 and R4 already, right? And that's about, I think, speed greater than 50, correct? And there's some school finding system and all those things. So if you look at that question right on your screen right now, okay, please pay attention there if you can open that question right now. If you see there, they said that we are applying decision table testing and we have got 2 test cases already, that is R1 and R4. Okay, if you see, observe there, they got 2 combination, true, true, and false, false, correct? Now, there's in the second passage, they are asking you what other two test cases are required from the given table below, correct? And the table has 4 tests, that is 4 combination. Now, of course, you have 2 conditions, so there can be 4 combination: true, 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 false, false, true, and false, false, correct? Now, they have already found true, true, and false, false. You have to search for true, false, and false, true. The only trick they have used in that question is in the DT1, DT2, DT3, DT4, they have replaced the first condition as values. Instead of asking you true and false, they give you the values. You also have to do the same. In condition 1, if it is greater than 50, it is true. If it is less than 50, it is false. So pick up those test cases which fulfill the criteria true, false, and false, true. So your answer must be DT2 and DT4, which is covering true, false, and false, true. Okay, I hope that gives you the absolute criteria understanding that how do we judge it. Okay, another one coming from Shrishma says, good evening, sir. I cleared the foundation level exam with 33 marks. Thanks for your suggestions and videos. I'm really happy. Congratulations, Shrishma, for making this happen. And it's really great to see people coming back here and letting us know. Thank you for taking some time out and joining this live session and letting us know your result. I'm really happy to see that when people at least take some time out, even after learning from the content. Actually, there are a lot of people who do pass, but they do not come back and let me know. Okay, but so I want to thank all those people who certainly take some time out and help me understand that yes, because of these tutorials I passed, and at least let me know. It just gives me a simple handful understanding, or just feel that yes, people are making most out of this. So it just makes a lot of sense to me and many others who are a part of this live session who watch this. So thank you, Srishma, for letting us know, and congratulations, and all the best for all your future endeavors. Yeah, agile. I think that should be something good because most of the industries are practicing that, and if you are certified with agile, they would certainly add a lot of value to your portfolio, and it makes a lot of sense when you are working in these things, and that will add more value to your portfolio as well. And agile is something which is trending into the market. No matter which industry you get into, a lot of organizations are practicing that. So agile will be certainly good for you, Srishma. Okay, we do have another one coming in from Siddharth Jain. Siddharth says, but sir, I was asking, how to solve path coverage and statement coverage. Which certification are you working on, Siddharth? Because if you are working on foundation, these are not required. If you are working on advanced level, then you do have a tutorial. I cannot solve anything and tell you without a practical example on the screen right now, as I'm on live session and I'm not streaming, right? So I'm streaming live with my video conferencing. I cannot have a screen share right now. So you can watch my technical test analyst tutorials to understand how to solve path coverage and statement coverage. Okay, technical test analyst playlist. Zayad says, but sir, I was asking because going through sample papers, we can somehow judge our confidence level before going in for paper. Again, Zayad, it does not really mandatory means that you have to go through 10 sample paper to judge your confidence. Your confidence can be judged even with one sample paper, that which questions you went wrong and which questions you went correct, right? And that clearly tells you that which areas you need to improvise. So pick up the same paper once again and try to answer it. And it's not more about remembering the answer and answering in the second time. It's more about like thinking that you don't know anything. You've never seen this paper before, and then attempt it once again. Okay, so I believe that anyone can have this habit, that one paper can still help you to understand your confidence. You really don't need 5 papers to do 5 different mistakes, correct? But yeah, as I'm telling you, because that's a really unfortunate thing to say, that we don't have any other paper. So I may not be helpful, and at the same time, you cannot find other papers. So you may have to just go with that and see how is that best you can judge your own confidence and prepare on your weak areas. But yeah, just come back to me and let me know if you think that there are certain areas which needs improvement, then how to judge it, what kind of areas you need clarification. That's where I'm here. You can always ask me that, okay, I did not understand this concept or did not understand that concept. Please tell me more about it. I will certainly help you on that. Okay. So If you think that you are unable to measure the confidence in the one sample paper, feel free to let me know whatever questions you may have about your certification preparation. And I will be here to assist you with all that doubts and clarification whatsoever you may have. Okay, and Hafiz, thank you so much. Now it's clear. You're welcome. If you please tell a little about use case testing. Okay, so use case testing is more about deriving a real-time interaction between the system and the actor, where the actor is the user and system is your application. Generally, you get requirements, bits and pieces, right? So when you talk about developing a particular requirement, you get in simple forms, like this is what a user will do, this is what a system is expected to be here. But collection of these requirements will give you an end-to-end transaction of a system. For example, withdrawing money from ATM. Withdrawing money from ATM requires collection of activities. For example, swipe your card, enter your PIN, select a menu option, then enter the amount, enter the account type, and get the money withdrawn. Right? Now, this is where a real-time interaction can be judged in a sequential way. User swipes the card, system asks for enter the PIN. User enters the PIN, system validates the PIN. Now there can be an exception. So use cases will have all that thing in one single flow based on a real-time interaction between the system. Now, what's the difference between a test case and use case? Use case is still telling you the requirement, but in a continuous form, in a sequence of activities. But test case is independent, like one test at a time, and they can be independent. But use case will just take the entire transaction at a place and then ask you to tell you the situations that where all a user can go wrong, where a system can throw an exception, and then you try to come up with your test cases. Now, that's where we say that use case testing is also a technique to derive your test cases, and it's not a replacement for the test case. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, we have Siposa. Hello, could you please explain more about statement and decision coverage? Okay, so statement and decision coverage are white box testing techniques, and they help you to derive test cases or minimum number of test cases for the white box testing techniques. Now, of course, they have their own way of measuring it. Statement coverage measures the statements in the program or the given fragment of code, and decision coverage measures the decisions made in the program. Now, of course, for more details, you can watch the tutorials and you would understand with the flowchart and with an example of the fragment of code that how exactly to apply it. You can find the tutorials in Foundation as well as advanced level certifications. That is technical test analyst. Because right now I'm not sharing my screen, so I cannot help you to understand with an example. But yeah, statement goes more with the statements within the program, and decision goes with the decision made in the program. So for example, if you have a condition if in your program, then if is your statement, and the outcomes of if, that is true and false, are your decision. Okay, so I'm pretty much caught with the questions on the chat box. I'm waiting for more. So team, if you got more questions, feel free to drop that below. And I'm here listening to your queries and responding to them. Don't forget to drop a thumbs up if you're happy with the service which I'm providing to you and helping you to get the answers. So if you get your answers for your queries, just drop a like. Which just lets YouTube know that there is something like this, which is a live session happening and which can be helpful to many others like you. There are many people who come every time and they say that, I was not aware that I can ask my questions. There is a platform where I can go and ask my questions. So please let your friends, your colleagues know that every Saturday, if they have any questions related to testing, they can come here and ask their questions. If not, you can just drop a like where YouTube will do that job for you. They will let know many other people that there is a live session where I come weekly once and help people to get their queries resolved. Okay, Zad also says, is Agile tester level paper is more complex or difficult compared to CTFL, or it is same as CTFL? Same as CTFL. It's just that one or two questions will be there where you will be asked to select more than one option. Okay, and there you will find 5 options. Don't be confused that why I found five options, because they want you to select two options. So one or two question in the out of 40. So that's where only, you have to apply a little more of your understanding. Otherwise, the complexity level is same as foundation. It's not at all difficult. The way you dealt with foundation, the same way you will deal with agile also. The difficulty level remains the same. It's not different. Yassine, go ahead. If you got any more questions, feel free to drop them below. I'm here waiting for your questions to respond to them. So do not hesitate. Your question is just a question for me. No other difference. For me, there's nothing called as a smart question, nothing called as a silly question. It's just a question. As far as you have a question, I must answer that. So yes, looking forward to more questions, waiting for that. Yep. Office says state transition testing. So that's also for the just like use case testing, where you have transactions, like an end-to-end transaction. But here it's more of like status and transition between them. So status basically, like, you may have a control flow and your status defines what's next. For example, a switch can go from on to off, and it can only go from off to on, right? It cannot go from on to on. So generally, when you have a transaction, but the transaction is not about the action, it's more about status, like state change. So there will be different states and different transition between them. And there are possibilities of various ways to reach from one state to another state, right? So the transition here become the test cases for you, and various possibilities from jumping from one state to another state is what you call it as state transition diagram. So state transition diagram can certainly help you to understand what exactly will be the test cases required to test it. So the number of possibilities will be displayed in the form of state transition diagram, and one can anytime test it. Okay, so Moni also have another question. For a general test analyst, do we need both technical and advanced test analyst certification? No. For a general test analyst, okay, test analyst is a certification which is for functional testers. Okay, like if you are involved in unit integration system and acceptance, you call yourself as a test analyst. But if you're involved in non-functional testing, like performance, usability, portability, interoperability, other than unit integration and system, then you go for technical test analyst. So whatever you are proficient with, whatever do you practice as a part of your role play, you will go appropriately for that certification. Okay, and just for your information, all of you, that Monib is one of our members of the channel, and this membership is all about supporting a cause of helping underprivileged kids for the education. So if you are being a part of this channel's membership program, it is just that you are helping hand to help me reach out to the kids who can be a part of this. Okay, like I can sponsor a child for education. So all your membership amount gets collected together and being given to one of the kids directly so that he can be educated. As I'm coming from education background, my channel is all about education. So we do the similar thing. And this is very nominal. It's hardly 119 INR, which is not even expensive for anyone. It's just like a cup of tea in a good restaurant. So that's monthly, right? So if you would like to be a part of membership, you do have a join button right below my video. Click on that and be a part of this. And again, it's not mandatory. It's just that people asked me that I would like to do something for you. We are really happy with what effort you're putting. So it's just out of your courtesy and out of your willingness. So volunteer option, it's not really a mandatory option. It's just that being a member, you do get additional benefit. You do get a separate live session on each Friday. And you can connect with me to learn more about, learning a concept, learning a topic, and all those things. So it will be a Zoom conferencing, which will be two-way communication. And you can always ask me for any topics to be clarified. And only members will be able to see this notification. that where we will be connecting on Friday and what time. So members, those who are members, I request them to keep checking the community tab for links on every Friday. Okay, so what if both functional and non-functional is required for the job? See, first of all, I don't see that as a requirement for a QA. A QA can never be proficient from both the angles, that is functional and non-functional. But yes, a test manager has to be proficient from both the sides. So to take up test manager or be a full-fledged test manager yourself, you can take up test analyst, then take up technical test analyst, and then go for test manager. So that's where both the certifications are required. Okay, that's where it will help you to become a test manager. So if you're preparing for test manager, then I would recommend you take up both test analyst as well as test analyst. But for a QA, you need anyone, because either you will be a performance tester or you will be a functional tester. Okay, so for test manager, you need both, because planning is all about entire testing, not only from functional point of view. So a test manager should be proficient with both the knowledge. Okay, Manip says, thank you. You're welcome, Manip. And thanks for being a member of this channel. I really appreciate it. Hey, team, anyone else looking forward to any more questions? I'm here waiting for your questions to respond to them, help you understand the concepts and get whatever you can. All right, Nitin is back here. Nitin says, for a QA having 4 to 5 years of experience in software testing, looking to become an SDET, what all certifications do you recommend apart from CTFL? When you say software developer in test, then you may need more things. For example, tool-specific certifications. You can take up Selenium certification, which will be your automation. You can talk about GitHub, or you can talk about Jenkins. You can talk about CI/CD components, or the best thing will be the platform which you are working for. For example, if you're working for a cloud application, then get that cloud certification done. If you're working for any particular like SAP application, then go for SAP. You're working for Salesforce, go for Salesforce certification. These are the things which will make you more compatible for a SDET role. And other than that, of course, you do have your Git, you have Bitbucket, and a lot of other things which you can certainly make use of. Okay, as a certification part. Again, I'm not sure what type of certifications do you have for these tools, but for tools, you have tool-specific certification. There are no generalized certification for them. So, for example, Jira, you have Jira certifications. Salesforce, you have Salesforce certifications. SAP, you have SAP certifications. So go by tool certifications, which will make you SDET compatible. Okay. So other than CTFL, you can opt for the tool-based certifications or environment-based certifications, which you are expected to work upon. Yes, see, if you're waiting for more questions, just feel free to drop them here. I'm here to respond to your queries, help you understand the concepts, and answer your questions as much as possible. Sure, you're welcome, Nitin. Team, we are waiting for more questions to come up as a part of our live session. If in case we do not have any questions, we'll trigger the timeout. And if the questions are not at all there, we would not like to record a live session without talking anything. So would certainly wait for your questions. And here comes the next one, which is from Zayed. So nowadays, how the industry is evolving. Is manual testing going to be less valuable than automation? What's your comments on this? Yes, certainly, because there are people who are working on manual testing, and it's not that it's going to be extinct. That means it will elope from the industry. It will be there, but yeah, less value. If you are a manual tester, you will be paid less compared to automation tester. So if you are a QA currently, and you're looking forward to sustain as a QA for a few more years or maybe lifelong, then I recommend you strongly to be a part of automation, because that's the industry in future. And people will always look forward to have an automation tester who can reduce their effort, and they don't mind paying you as far as their work is they're getting done in half the time. Correct? So they have money, industry has a lot of money, but they want to give it to people who are worth, right? So manual testing will not move out of industry. It will be just that it will be hardly 20% and 80% will be automation. Even if you are learning, right, Zayed, you're learning about Agile right now. You would have seen that test pyramid, right? Most of the things are automated as a part of Agile. And it's not that they are manually conducted. Very minimal of manual testing happens as a part of your agile framework. So when you talk about industry, people are moving towards agile, they are practicing agile, so they need more and more automation because we have short iterations. So automation is going to be given more preference compared to manual, but manual will be there at low cost. So if you really want to be recognized in the market, and people should still consist you, or like if you decide that this person should still be in the market, then be an automation tester. You see many more questions coming up. Please feel free to drop them in the chat box. I'm here answering your questions, and let the question be anything about certification, be it about a process, be it about a concern having being a QA. So feel free to let me know whatever you may have. I'm here to talk about them, help you understand as far as I know about it. Sorry. Yes, team, waiting for more questions to answer. And I think it should be time. I should trigger the timeout of 5 minutes. If there are no questions, we will end the session as far as we have answered all your questions. But if there are questions coming up, we will continue the session, because we don't want to record a live session without talking anything and being idle, right? So yeah, so I think I should be triggering the timeout of 5 minutes right now. And let's see if we have got any questions coming in the next 5 minutes. This trigger will reset. Because this live session is all about answering your queries. I do not have an agenda to share with you, and I don't have any specific topic to talk about more than responding to your queries. So this is a live Q&A session where you can always be a part of it and ask your questions, and I'm here to respond to them. All right, we got another question from Hafiz. Hafiz says, how do we know which information is more important in defect report and also in incident report? Okay, Hafiz, first of all, these are not different. Incident report is equal to defect report. And incident report was earlier used in the previous labels, which was mainly about, saying that when a defect is detected, until unless it is validated, it is called as incident. Because a tester can also have misunderstanding, and he or she can also be wrong in terms of declaring it as a defect. So whenever a tester finds an anomaly, a test manager has to review it, validate it, and then declare it as a defect. So for your kind information, an incident and defect are actually same. Before declaration, it is called as incident. Once declared open, it is called as a defect. And what should be included? Of course, there are many things. If you talk about defect report, you include detected on, detected by, severity, priority, the status of the defect, which environment it was detected in, which activity you were performing when you got this defect, which developer working on it, right? And a lot many things. So you can certainly go to 5.6 of our chapter 5 in foundation level, and you'll find the detailed report with all the inputs, what you need to capture to be a part of it. I think you are still going through CTFL because your questions are saying that you have not been through all the tutorials. So please patiently go through all the tutorials first. A lot of your questions will automatically get answered as you spend time there, because tutorials are more detailed than what I'm trying to clarify you here with information on the screen. Right now, you are looking at me, you don't have any slide deck on the screen, so it will be difficult to remember, it will be difficult to understand. I do agree with that. So go through the tutorials in a continuous manner, and you should have all your questions answered one after the other with appropriate justification and details. Okay, so these are all part of our tutorials in the foundation level syllabus. Okay, we got another one from Ritu. Ritu says, explain me test types and what is black box and white box. Okay, so black box and white box, again, are basically two different approaches to conduct dynamic testing. Now, dynamic testing is something where you run the application and you test it. And this is where you write test cases, right? So when you are testing the system dynamically, you have two different approaches to test it. Either you can test it at the code level, or you can test it like a user at the front end, which is GUI, graphical user interface. So like a user, when you work it on the front end, that is entering a value, clicking on a button, getting the desired output, you call it as black box testing approach. And when you test it at the back end, like a developer, where developer has access to the code, they run the program, they see the desired output, they see whether the code is actually accepting the inputs or not. That's what you call it as white box, which is conducted at the back end. So if the testing, that is dynamic testing, is conducted at the back end, you call it as white box testing approach. And if it is tested at the front end, like a user, then you call it as black box testing approach. So generally, white box is used for unit testing or to certain extent integration testing, but system testing are generally done at the front end, which is black box testing approach. Or maybe even further, like acceptance testing and all are done at the front end only, which is black box testing approach. I hope you got the clarity of that. If you still have any questions, just let me know. Okay, Munib says, hi, why is test process improvement and the test manager on the same level, and what is the difference? Oh, I totally didn't get it. If you're looking at the ISTQB certifications, test process improvement is expert level, okay? And test manager is advanced level. So once you get certified with all three certification, then only you can look for expert certification, which is test process improvement. So they are not same, they are different. I'm not sure if you're looking at that or that is what you meant by your question. Let me know if you have any other question on that. As per ISTQB, test manager is at advanced level and test process improvement is at expert level. It's not advanced. Sure, you're welcome. ST, many more questions? We have another 20 minutes to go from this live session. Make most out of this opportunity, or else I'll be available again next weekend on Saturday. So make sure you make most out of this opportunity in the next 20 minutes, and I should be more than happy to respond to your queries. But yes, there's no limitation. You can always reach out to me throughout the week using the chat box, the comment box of YouTube. Go to any of the videos, just drop your question, and I'll pick up your question and respond to that. Even you can reach out to me on LinkedIn and connect with me to ask your questions. And I'm always available on LinkedIn to respond to your queries. Okay, Manip says, sorry, meant test management. Again, I think my answer remains the same, Manip. Test management is not a certification, it's a topic inside test manager certification. So you cannot say or compare the test management and test manager, because test management is a process or the job of a test manager, right? The one who does the test management is called as test manager. So again, I'm not pretty much sure with your query still, that what does that really mean when you say test management and test manager on the same level. That's the job, like end to end, like planning, monitoring, controlling, creating entry criteria, measuring entry criteria, reporting, keeping an eye on all the progress item is what you call it as test management. And the one who does that is called as test manager, right? Anyways, you can just still drop me, keep dropping me till you get your clarification, because that's the difference in the perception, right? Sometimes you do write few things, but maybe you are not clear with your what you want to ask. So keep writing it again and again so that I finally get what you want to know. And I'm not going to say that why are you writing the same thing 100 times? Because it's just an understanding which we are trying to build so that I can answer you appropriately. So do not feel that I may even say at any point of time that why are you writing the same thing again and again? No, none of my business. My business is at the end of the day, the one who is asking a question should get a clarity of what they wanted to know. Okay. So just let me know if you think still I'm not answering your question so that I can be more helpful to you. All right, we got another one from Nitesh. Hi, chapter 6, that is test tool. Is it for 3 or 4 marks? Just 2 marks. Okay, so chapter 1 is 8, chapter 2 is 5, chapter 3 is 5, chapter 4 is 11, chapter 5 is 9, and chapter 6 is 2. Okay, so that gives you total understanding. And I think on each of my videos, when the sample question comes, I always talk about that what are the number of questions from this particular question. So just feel free to refer to that also, if in case you could not make a note of it. But yeah, just no problem. I can always answer your questions whenever you have. Okay, so there's another question coming in from Ritu. What is the use of affinity diagram? Affinity diagram is just a kind of pictorial representation of grouping things together. Okay, this is what I understand. So, for example, I have different components to build an application. Few things are from UI UX component. Few things are from the backend, which is database. Few things are related to API. Few things are related to test data. Few things are related to lot many other things, right? So I'll just put them into a grouping, and that grouping of each category or categorization is what I call it as an affinity diagram. Affinity diagram is basically the grouping of different components into their respective category. And it will tell you that, for example, if you're working on API, then this is what all items you need to take care of. If you're working on UI UX, these are the few things which you need to take into account. So affinity diagram is not actually a diagram. It's just a tabular representation of categorization of different components in any particular thing which you are making in any particular project. It could be a software project. It could be a function which you are creating. For example, catering. Catering is one category for a function. Decoration is another category of a function. Now, decoration includes balloon decoration or light decoration or flowers and potting, all those things. Even if you talk about catering, you do have your food items, you have snacks items, you do have main course, you do have desserts, right? You put them into the category. That okay, all these items goes into catering. Catering will take care of it, and balloons and all those lights and everything, entrance, having the guards, these all will be taken care by the decorating team. So that categorization is what you call it as affinity diagram. But it is basically categorization. It's not a pictorial representation of lines and boxes or something. So it just tells you that what falls where. So it will be easy and simplified. Okay, Zaid says, not topic related, but are you a fan of Salman Khan? Asking because you're wearing a bracelet which you are wearing right now. No, it's the other way around. The Salman Khan is a fan of mine. Okay, I'm not a fan of Salman Khan. It's just that I started using it long back when I didn't even know that Salman Khan is wearing this. Okay, so I'm not into that Bollywood freak where I go die-hard fan and all those kind of thing. No, I'm fan of myself and probably my audience. Okay, so if my audience is happy about me and they are feeling good about all my work, I'm rather your fan compared to anyone else who doesn't really contribute to specific success, right? I'm again not against any specific actor or any Bollywood thing, but yeah, it's just that I liked it, I used it. It's not an influence, not at all, and not especially the Bollywood, those who work on fake things, right? They do their hard work in their profession, but the things which are not adding a value to your success, then I think I don't get influenced by those things. I'm more influenced by people, more influenced by events, more influenced by activities which inspire other, okay, in a right way, and help you to succeed ahead, no matter personally or professionally. But yes, I certainly support those things. Nothing like, in fact, if you ask me, I'm not a die-hard fan of Salman Khan or any other actor. I still don't watch much of the movies. Very rarely I watch movies. And if still I'm more happy, I would go for Hollywoods rather than Bollywoods. So I watch more Hollywood rather than Bollywood because at least there that it is VFX, it's animation, and you don't have to be a fool to try those things, right? And but still you enjoy it. So entertainment, if you really want, watch something which is logical, which makes sense, which talks about technology, right? And best use of that. Not like so fake in the Bollywood that you can make out that these things are not possible. If you're watching a Hollywood movie, at least for a moment, you will feel that, yes, he would have done this. But Bollywood, you are sure that, come on, man, enough. Can you stop doing all these things, which people can easily make out that this is not reality? So I go by more those things which inspire me to keep up, people inspired. So that's where it is. But yeah, I'm not a fan. Thanks for observation, by the way. But good. I'm not a fan of Salman Khan, for sure. No Bollywood, no politics. Never. Nitesh says, thanks. Nan says, I really appreciate you, Neeraj, for all your support and guidance. These live Q&A sessions are amazing. Thank you so much, Nan. I think I was just waiting for your comment, and that does make a lot of your, gratitude towards my effort. And I'm more than happy to see such comments, which keeps me inspired. I think this is what I was talking about, Zad, when you said 10 on 10 points for this answer. I think I'm being just what I am, and I really don't have to, be more than happy for these comments is what I deserve. That's it, and that keeps me fueled up all the time to, keep helping you every time. Because if I do a live session, nobody comes here, nobody asks a question, the next week I'll stop doing it. But when somebody comes here, at least 10, see, you can know my live sessions hardly have 10 members on the call at any point of time, right? And they ask you questions, they drop. Again, new people come, they join, ask their questions, they drop in 1 hour of time. Okay, many people join, ask their questions, they drop within few minutes. But still, I stay here for an hour. The reason is every question has to be answered when I'm dedicating my time, right? So this is where I don't have any criteria for this live session. I don't want you to be a member of the channel. I don't want you to be a subscriber of this channel. I don't really want you to pay some super chat to be. But yeah, just feel free. No matter whoever you are, you got a question, be here, ask your questions, free to drop if you don't have any questions. But if you ask me, I would recommend that you learn from others' questions as well. So if you can really stay back in the session, there are a lot of questions which are going to come, and I will be talking about a lot of interesting things, and that can certainly add a lot of value. So thank you once again, Nayan, for your valuable feedback. And Ritu says, thank you so much. And what is coverage-based analysis? Coverage-based analysis is again like coverage measurement based on the coverage outcomes. you do an analysis to identify what is that you could cover and what is that you could not cover, and what is that you would need to do in order to cover the uncovered part of it. Okay, that's not a tongue twister, but that's the answer. Okay, once you have the coverage measurement done like path coverage, decision coverage, condition coverage, modified decision condition coverage, or statement coverage, you will analyze all these outcomes, that what is that you got covered, where you have lack of coverage, and what will you do next to measure all these coverages. That's what you call it as coverage based analysis. And thanks, Zayed, for rating me 10 on 10. But still, I would say I'm still 9 on 10 because a lot of things, nobody is perfect. And I cannot say I'm nobody, right? Those proverbs looks only good on the t-shirt. But yeah, as far as you admit that there are still things which you can learn, and there are few things which is still awaiting you to learn them, you are not 10 on 10. So I'm again not strictly as of now 10 on 10 because I'm still learning a lot of things like people from you. When you ask me a few things, I do get understanding. When I go through a lot of other conferences, a lot of other workshops, I do realize when people ask me several questions. I do a lot of seminars and workshops, and people ask me variant type of questions. And those questions help me to trigger that, yeah, do you see that there are few things which you still have to learn. So keep learning all the time, and that will keep you always successful in terms of like being aware of what's happening. But anyways, thank you so much for your comment, because I'm a kind of quite neutral technology focused person. So I don't have a lot of time to waste into those unwanted gossips. So you will find most of my time being in front of laptop, but not on a Bollywood news page or politics news page. I'll be rather more on the technical side of it, where I'll be thinking what more can be done in order to improvise the test process. I'm more of a testing guy. Yes, team. Looking forward to more questions. You got another 6 minutes to go from this session. Make sure that you make most out of this remaining 6 minutes. But yes, we have got another question from Nidin. What do you mean by digital transformation as far as an organization is concerned? Is it tool related, process related, other things, etc.? Okay, digital transformation basically means when you move from a manual process to automation, or when you start using a latest process or system or tool instead of your legacy system. So anything which transforms you towards the latest technology is what you call it as digital transformation. It could be like, taking a manual shutter camera to a DSLR, which is auto shutters, right? Going and reaching to that complexity, which was earlier not feasible. You do have tools like Jira, you do have tools like ALM, but still you are using Excel. So these things tell you that if you move from Excel to Jira and manage your task more systematically and more, efficiently, that's what you call it as digital transformation. It is more of the technology point of view. Even in the process, if you're trying to improvise your process day by day, that's a digital transformation. And generally, the digital transformation stands for that you're talking about moving more on the technology side compared to a speaking side or something like process point of view. But yeah, process do invite a lot of technology. So yes, that's where I'm including process also as a part of digital transformation. It's collection of everything, Nitin. It's collection of everything. Nitish says, do I need to know about all test strategy approaches in depth for ISTQB? Depends on the label, Nitish, not label, level. So depends on the level. If you are working on foundation right now, you just need to know the name. But if you're working on advanced level, either test analyst or test manager or technical test analyst, yes, then you need to know everything about it. Munib says ISTQB core expert level test management and improving the test process. What is the difference? Improving the test process is more on the TMMI, CMMI, CTP step, which is all about your process maturity model. Okay. I'm not sure if you have been through any of these in your career before, or at least through the tutorials. If you watch my test manager tutorials, you will find an entire chapter on improving the test process. Other than maturity of the test process, whatever you do in testing is called as test management. Okay. So now improving the test process is only about maturing your test process. Like what you do, are you capable enough to do it better or not? For example, you do not have any plan and you are testing an application. You may say that, oh, is that even possible? Yes. If you talk about startup organizations, they do not have a mature process. They don't do any planning. They just take the system and test it. They write the test cases, run the test cases, but they don't have anything called as test planning. But if you talk about a well-established CMMI level 5 company, you talk about ISO certified company, you talk about Six Sigma certified company, that's what is maturity model. CMMI, capability maturity model. CTP, critical test process. You have STEP, you have TPI next, test process improvement. A lot of models are there. Even TMMI, test maturity model integration. Search for these bodies. These are all about improvising your test process day by day. Other than this, whatever activities you perform is called as test management, like creating matrices, measuring the matrices, defect management, test data management, and critical handling of the risk management, risk analysis. These are called as your test management. So process improvement is different from test management. So we have two different certification, which are two different chapters in the test manager. After test manager is done, this two chapters become two different certification at the expert level. I hope now you have the clarity on what you were looking for. So there the topics are becoming certification, not just a simple topic. They're elaborating everything. You will be expert of testing if you get certified with that. More of like test director, not test manager, test director if you certify yourself with expert level. Okay, team, we've got another 3 minutes remaining from this session. Feel free to quickly drop your questions and I should be answering them before we leave for the day. Yeah, Monique, thank you so much. See, this is where I never get kind of, annoyed with your questions, because finally you should be satisfied with what you were actually looking for. And as far as you get that answer, that is more important for me. Don't forget to drop a thumbs up if you're happy with the question and answer session here, because that helps YouTube understand that, they are actually doing good. Yassine, if you got any more questions, feel free to let me know. I'm more than happy to respond to your queries, answer them well before you sign up for the day. Thank you, Tushar. All right, so that's where we hit the clock. Thank you so much, team, for joining in. I would like to thank each and every one of you who joined this particular session and asked a question. It's more than really a part of this session. So you can feel free to connect again next weekend. Don't forget, every Saturday we connect between 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time to answer your questions for an hour time. Feel free to collate all your questions and put it in the live session where I can answer all your queries. So thank you so much for being a part of it. I would certainly be picking up this last great news from Divyanshu. Thank you so much, Divyanshu, for letting us know that you passed with 80%, and congratulations on the success. I wish you all the very best for your future endeavors and keep rocking. Thank you so much for being here and let us know that you succeeded with your exam. It becomes inspiration to many others here that yes, this is happening and they can certainly make use of these tutorials to get certified for their certification as well. So as usual at the end, team, I say thank you so much for being a part of this live session, team. Should you have anything else, feel free to comment below. I'm always there to address your queries and answer them well. Till then, keep learning, keep exploring, keep understanding the context. Thanks for being a part of this live session, team, and happy learning. Take care. See you next weekend. Stay safe and bye-bye.